Nice. You can be nice sometimes. Sometimes it's not nice. I've got my friend and brother in the studio today. We've been planning this for a while, so I'm happy that he's successfully, come here today. And he's a communication expert. I'll allow him introduce himself. I don't think I'll do justice to his portfolio, so as not to, cut it short or deny you all the privilege of knowing who we actually have here today. Our last Stallone-Obaraemi Samuel to introduce himself. Welcome, stupendous Stallone. That's the first thing I knew about him was like, somebody say he's stupendous Stallone. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. My name is Stallone-Obaraemi Samuel. It's usually the longest name in the room, in most rooms. When I get in and I say, oh, my name is Stallone-Obaraemi Samuel, and they say, can you make it shorter? And I say, no, I can't. And yes, I'm very passionate when it comes to communication. I am an organizational development coach, consultant, and expert, and also a Maxwell Leadership Certified Team member. I'm also a behavioral analysis consultant. But my focus in all of this is to help organizations to lubricate the wheel of their operations so that there's less friction. And what we have found out over time is that many organizations, when I mean organizations, it could be corporate organizations or units or even families, spend too much time in trying to solve problems. In other words, deal with conflict instead of doing other things that are not productive. A conflict can be good at times because it brings some things up, but if you can avoid it or if you can manage it, you don't need to let it to escalate. What we've found out over time is that communication is usually the challenge. And as we go on, if we have the time, I probably would expand on that or expatiate so that people will understand. What we do or what I do is to help us to see how do people communicate and how do they connect. Once you understand this, you bring down silos, you bring down walls so that the organization can focus more on production and making more money than spending time in solving problems that are avoidable. In a nutshell, that's what I do. It cuts across relationships at different levels, at different points. And it's been an exciting journey. And to add to that, I'm really excited to be here today to explore the big C of relationships.
So it's not just organizations. That's just where I'm happy that he landed on that note. So we're moving from organizations to relationships, but generally speaking, even in organizations, what we have are relationships.
Mhm.
So we've got relationships with our colleagues, vertical, horizontal, with our bosses, with our colleagues, with those who may be lower ranks, and the way in which we communicate, even in that cycle in organization, is also it's a relationship dynamic, so to speak. So we're going to
Yes.
try to cover both aspects today. We'll talk about first of all why communication matters in I'm the one who chose to label it the big C because I feel like it's the glue that keeps the relationship going. It's like a wheel. It's turning, it's
Mhm.
turning. But if we're not communicating properly, we're not able to communicate with ourselves, or we're miscommunicating. I think that's where the misunderstanding comes in sometimes in relationship. And that's why I see it as a big, big, big deal. I see it as a big deal. That's why I've labeled it as a big C. So let's begin with that. Why does it matter in relationship, the big C?
Thank you, Dr. Ong. You see, communication is really important in every relationship. I give you a story, and beyond communication, I want to add something further. But before that, let me give you the story. There was a time when I was working for a multinational company, and we hired someone who was really fast at a very senior level, really
Mm,
fast. growing, and his voice was good. He was just smooth. He would bring in the business. But a few months down the line, nobody wanted to work with him. Nobody wanted to do anything with him.
mm,
And it was like he was lonely in this space. And analysis shows that at the end of the day, what we discovered was that he could communicate. He went to one of the best schools in the world. I'm trying to give less details so that it doesn't, those who know this story doesn't really pin on doesn't really get this out. Like, but the point is that he could communicate, but he wasn't connecting. So what
mm,
people need to understand is, if you must communicate, you must. It's important not just to communicate, but to connect. I love what John Maxwell would said. He named it one of his books. Everyone communicates, few connect. So
mm,
communication is important because it leads to connection if you know how to manage it. It is the oil that lubricates the wheel, whether it's in the family circle, between you and your spouse, you and your children, at work, in any relationship, friendship. It's communication that lubricates that wheel.
mm,
Interestingly, it is something that many people pay less attention to. In my experience, you walk into a business setting and people are willing to invest in operations, then willing to invest in maybe materials, tools, but they are less inclined to invest in the communication skills of their managers, of their employees. That really tells you that you have to do some work for them to see the importance of communication skills in that setting. It also gives you the impression, you get to see that people don't see how important this is. But let me land by saying that operations can only work when you have business. When a client says, do this for me, then you
mm,
get operations in to execute, right? But you need to communicate as a salesperson, as a business owner with the potential client to get the client to see what you are willing, what you're capable of offering. And when the client says, go ahead and execute on what we've said, you sign the dotted lines. Within the team, amongst the team members, they need to communicate effectively for operations to go on smoothly. When
mhm,
something goes wrong,
mm,
customer service needs to communicate effectively with the client in order for things to go on smoothly. See,
mm.
you can't take communication out of the equation at all. However, people are there's this blindsidedness if people not really understanding how important communication is. So, in a nutshell, it is important because it is a bedrock of everything we do in any setting.
I can imagine the story of, you know, I know it's biblical, the Tower of Babel,
Yeah.
and how God looked down at these people and said, look, as long as these people, their mind is one, they're speaking the same language. That story always,
Hmm.
tricks me in the every time I read it. Like,
Yes,
there's nothing they want to do that they will not do. And
absolutely.
when God wanted to stop them, he confused their language. The moment they could
Yes.
not understand each other, the project could not move on. It became an
Hmm.
abandoned project. And
Yes.
it's the same thing with what you're trying to explain to us. Yes, we want productivity, we want operations to run smoothly. But how will they run smoothly if we can't even communicate our vision, for example, for the organization, our goals, our objectives, and we are not aligned? So
True.
communication is really important. And then we come back to relationships. So can two work together except they be agreed? How do we agree if we don't speak the same language? So I want you
True.
to bring it to the relationship of first the home, the husband, the wife, the partner, the boyfriend, the courtship, whatever relationship. There are so many cycle of relationships, in families and homes now.
True.
You know, what are some of the barriers that we have to communication in this cycle?
Okay. To buttress the fact that communication is the foundation of connection,
Mm.
that
I
scripture,
like that.
that story about Nimrod
Mm-hmm.
and the Tower of Babel that you talked about, God said everything, anything that man, I mean, this is not verbatim, but the implication
Mm.
is anything man sets his heart to do,
Yeah.
he would accomplish it.
Mm.
Now, understand that God designed man, God created man, and God knows man more than man knows himself. By man, I mean both men and women.
Yes,
Okay,
of course.
more than we know ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And he, the creator, said, the what I have designed, what I have created, if anybody set their mind to do something, they set their heart to do something,
Mm.
they will achieve it eventually. But from God's action, what we saw was that one significant thing that can truncate the flow or stop you from achieving what you set your mind or your heart to do is communication.
Mm.
That's the import. If we drill down, it says, listen, if I skew their communication, if I take away the connection, this project will not work. If you
Mm.
take it over to whatever we do, it's very simple. Anyone that wants to destroy your relationship or your connection
Mm.
simply needs to target your communication. And
Mm.
that's why you see, sometimes you see people say, oh, he said that, you said that, I heard that was what you said about me. And then by the time you come together and you find out, oh, really, this is not even the situation. Somewhere there's been a misunderstanding. Somebody, if it is a person that's involved, the person has used the power of communication to poison the hearts of the people within this circle. That
Mm.
is how powerful communication is. It is the foundation to connection. And with what God did there, you'll find out that if you attack the communication, that it's going to be a challenge. Now, when we bring it home to the family, to husband, to wife, and all of that, I'll tell you something. We all communicate differently in different ways.
Mm.
Do not take that for granted. Now, there's a story that's just come to my mind. My wife sent me a WhatsApp message some time ago, not too long, like a couple of weeks ago. She sent me
Mm.
a WhatsApp message. And at the time I read the message about something she's done, I think we had something to we agreed she was going to do something. So like she came back and said, look, I've done A, B, C, D. Look at what happened. Look at what happened. And I'm not sure where I was, if I was in a meeting or what I was doing, but the shot where I just sent this emoji, thumbs up. I just made this thumbs up and then sent it back to her. We did not speak to each other. Okay, I think we exchanged a couple of texts, and then at night in the evening we got back home. She said, "I want to talk to you." And sometimes when your wife tells you, "I want to talk to you," you just
Not sometimes, most times men don't like to hear let's talk. I think I was going to ask a question about that later, but you're already bringing it in. Oh yeah,
and the first thing that goes into your head, okay, so what
what
haven't
have
I
I
done
done
this
this
time?
time?
And so she said, I took my time to narrate everything that I went through to deliver on the task that we agreed upon.
Mm.
And all you did was to say, thumb up. You just raised the thumb. And you could see in my face, my initial reaction was, what's wrong with that? But after I made that face, because of my knowledge of communication, I just managed to bring myself around and said, I'm sorry. What did I do wrong? Now, what I did was I went from that, removing that smirk on my face, like, what was wrong with that, to now being interested to say, if you are bringing this up, it meant something to you. What did I do wrong? And she said, I spent time explaining. I could have just given you one line, a liner, but then I explained, and all you did was to give me a thumb. And I said, that's why we have emojis. It's a way to express something you would have written in so many words or letters. You just express it in a way. You have the heart emoji and all of that. And she said to me, I'd like to read your words.
Mm.
I don't know. I prefer your words to emojis. Now I'm telling you, I'm saying in a calmer way, but she's saying in a very blunt way. Like that's what I prefer.
Yep.
It's it's just an example to tell you how we communicate. Now, we've been together for forever. But this bit would trigger something in my wife. I didn't know until a few weeks ago. Now, what have I learned? There's the way she communicates. She likes to be communicated with. She likes me to talk to her in a particular way, even if I'm sending texts. And I've learned that. She's someone that would tell you sometimes, if something is urgent, don't send me a message, call me. And I hate to call. So you see, we're at two different we're two different points. But the point here is in every relationship, communication is the key. If you attack communication, you will attack the connection eventually. And whether the relationship survives it or not, only time will tell.
Funny enough, that's a very, very strong example to give. And I like, when I come on this show, I like people who are practical and down to earth. So this is not they told you. This is your own
Yes,
experience, which you are
yes.
relating to people.
Mm,
And the work of understanding how your partner communicates, I think that's another place where many people miss it.
mm-hmm.
So they don't want to understand that. So you could have insisted, well, I was right. That's what the emojis are for. And I'll continue to send an emoji. Or you can say, okay, now I know she wants to hear my words. She wants to hear my voice. So I'll take the time. I think for me, it's not just about the words. I'm trying to read as a woman that I am, that she's talking about the fact that it means you've taken the time to respond to me. I'm
Yes.
important.
It's a time. It's the time.
And
I'm telling you.
this is the thing that they say sometimes. They tell you that the women are complicated. We are not. Just understand. Okay.
I won't say anything there.
Just
No,
understand what
I
we're
think,
saying
Dr. Omo,
behind
I
what we're
think,
saying.
Dr. Omo, I think we are all complicated. Every human, man, woman, and I'm going to at some point. I probably would share a few things why I feel it's not just about. Sorry for jumping in. It's not just
It's
about
fine.
women. It's not just about women. We are all complicated. We're all complicated because the important thing is, how do I put this? Everyone is selfish in a way, and that is to say, I don't care how you communicate. This is how I want you to communicate when you're talking to me, when you're dealing with me. Whether we say it or not, that's the way we all feel, men or women. I think sometimes when we say women are complicated, we try to play down on the fact that they are saying, in some instances, that listen, I need you to give me time. I need you to show that you care by giving me your time. And I tell you what, at some point, I probably, if we have the time, I mentioned, not all women care about you giving them their time, your time. Some women are simply blunt. I don't have time for nonsense. Just go straight. Tell me what I want to hear, and off I go. You get. Say, while there are men also that would want you. I mean, men also seek time. Why are we saying it's a
Exactly.
two-way thing? It's a two-way
Exactly.
thing, and I feel that the more if if we establish this balance, we show respect for the expectations of the other person. You know.
Fantastic. That's it. That's what we're looking for. Lola said thanks so much for your honesty. Thank you, Lola. Lola Thompson is, is watching you,
Thank you.
Stallion. People like it when we are honest, and honestly on
Mm,
this podcast, as much as yes, we're talking serious matters, we're also very practical. There's no need to pretend, about it. We need to understand the language of each other. If you take the time you want to build that communication and it's important to you and build that connection, because that's what you've told me today that has stuck in my head now.
yeah,
So the reason why my communication is important is because that's what builds my connection.
absolutely.
I don't know
Absolutely.
whether we're going to learn any other lesson today, but that's my own. So and I want to protect that connection. I want to stay connected. I'm bad with phone calls.
Mm,
And I think everyone who knows me by now should know that. Anyone who does not know that by now will have problems with me because they'll feel like I don't care. But once once a while, I can send a message. Of recent, my mom taught me, even if it's once a month, you see that first day of the month, I will say,
Yeah.
Happy New Month. It's my way of trying to stay connected to you,
Mm.
to let you know, I'm praying for you, I'm with you, I'm still with you, even if you don't hear my voice. I've
Yeah.
got a friend, he doesn't call me every time, but when he calls, we're on the phone for the next 1 hour or two, we're talking away. You'll be wondering, like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you still doing? So I might not hear from him for 1 month or two, but the moment I see his call, I know, yeah, we're going to have a good gist time. So it's to understand how your partner, your friend, your colleague, how you relate and how you communicate and how the person wants to be communicated to. So
Yes.
it's not one-sided and it does not continue to bring problems because that's, I think, is one of the major barriers. And then there's also the bias, which you've already started dealing with. For example, oh, women are complicated. Men don't like to talk. Some people will tell you men don't like to talk. I have met men that talk. Okay, continue, Stallone.
No,
Let's
no, no.
bust some of those bias and meet. When they start talking, you will shut up. Like, if you think you can talk, when those men start talking, you will shut, like, you will really shut up. So
Yeah.
let's bust some of those myths and bias because I feel that there are some of the barriers to us communicating effectively. One of what we've dealt with now is that, the lack of understanding of how someone wants to be communicated to.
Yeah.
Then the other, I think, is that we've got some bias, mindset,
Mm-hmm.
which influences our communication. You want to talk about that?
Yes. I have personally, I've come a long way. I've come a long way. I know that because I hate to call and I'd rather text. Back in the day before we had WhatsApp and social media and all of that, you know, at the early stage, even before I got married to my wife, I almost blew up the relationship because I would not call. And it's not because, and I was operating with the mindset of, I care. I don't have to call for you to know that. And it was really dangerous. I was just on the edge. I didn't know. Something happened and then it brought me back to my senses. I wouldn't say that I've become an amazing caller. I know that I've got friends who, I'm not bragging, it's just that's the way. I'd rather want to text and move on. But I know that there are people I can't do that with. For instance, my family. I have a friend that will tell you whatever you're doing, God first, family second, every other thing, work even comes third. And say when you're doing something and you feel you can explain yourself, you can explain yourself out of any situation. Sometimes it's not the same when it comes to family. In fact, even when you're running a family business and you're the chief executive and your wife is probably your chief operations officer, or maybe your co-founders, there are times when the tone will go from partner to partner, if you understand what I mean. It will go from office to listen, I can't take this. It is the same way you would have spoken to someone else that's probably not related to you in any way, but occupies that role. But you say the same thing to your spouse, and it could come back. The response would be, "Okay, wait a minute. We're in the office, yes, but let me remind you, we will get home."
Exactly. You will meet me at home.
Yes, you cannot take that away. No matter what anybody explains about business, management, whatever, that is present. You can't take that away. So that brings me to saying that I believe that it is worthwhile for partners, for spouses, for people in relationships to invest, because we're talking about family now, to invest in the communication, in understanding the communication style of their partners, of their family members. I
Mm,
mean, even if it means financially investing in it to understand, how does my wife communicate? How does my husband communicate? How do my children communicate? How would they love for me to communicate with them?
mhm.
We can do that blindly and think we understand it, or there are also scientific ways. And something happened recently that really blew my mind. a few after I become in the process of studying to become a behavioral analysis consultant, I saw so many things scientifically proven to show how we communicate depending on who we are, our personality, our genes, our environment, the people we look up to, how these things really affect or influence the way we communicate. And so I took my test in the process to try to understand. I thought I knew myself. But then I got this 30-page report that just showed me who I am. And I find out that I'm more okay. Say the report says my dominant personality trait is an I. An I means I'm an influencer. And my second dominant trait is a D, which means I am a dominant direct communicator. It means I have very little patience for details.
Hmm.
And so if I were to employ someone to work with me, the best person that with me, if depending on what I'm looking for, would be someone who's a C, who's got a knack for details, who wants compliance, who wants to deal with the back end rigorous spreadsheets and all of that. For me, I'm more like that's the big picture, let's go. All the things that will happen, all the hurdles that we would meet along the line, I don't see them. And so it made me reflect and say, okay, so that's why you did this that time. That's why you did this. So, in other words, over time, I've been doing things without scientifically understanding why I did those things. And then this report also showed me how I can communicate with people that are of other personality types. Now, look at what happened a few weeks ago. I persuaded my wife, and she also took that test. And guess what? I guess what? We found out together that her most dominant trait or personality, her most dominant personality style is a D. That means she's a
Hmm.
dominant, direct, confident, assertive, and aggressive communicator. She's the way she communicates is a no nonsense way. All right, that's the way she deals with things. And then the report also showed me, okay, so if I want to talk to my wife, I want to communicate with my wife, I want to deal with her, how should I deal with her? I need to be direct, I need to be brief, I need to state the big picture. I don't want to complicate things with too much detail. She asks me a question. She wants to look in my eyes and see that, okay, I'm giving the answer straight. And in my mind, I'm saying, okay, this is really interesting. So, but to tell you something, Dr. Omo, what this has done is that in the past few weeks, when I'm talking and we're discussing, and I begin to see those traits, I immediately get back and I say, remember how to communicate with this person. So it helps me. I'm still work in progress.
Of
And
course, we
so,
all are.
yes, I'm still work in progress. And so even when I talk with her and she says something or she does something, I say, listen, babe, listen, I thought you could have said this way. If you had passed it this way, it would have the way you passed it, it didn't land very well. Listen, this is how I'd like you to communicate with me. So we are now in another phase of learning, trying to understand. We've been together forever, like I said, but we're now beginning to understand again why my husband communicates the way he
So
does,
hold
why my wife.
hold that thought, hold that thought, hold that thought. And I
Yeah,
see, I like what you're saying. When I have guests there and they're really hitting the point, I don't interrupt. I like to, keep listening, keep listening. You're hitting the point, you're hitting the point here. It's not about how long we've been together.
no,
So some people make the mistake of thinking, well, I think they just take each other for granted. We've been together for so long. What are you talking about? I don't know how to communicate with this person. And maybe really you've not been communicating. You've
no.
not been listening. You've not
Maybe
been
they've
being
just been tolerating you.
exactly. They've just been tolerating you. They've just been tolerating you all this while. And some have even gone beyond tolerating. They're no longer communicating with you.
Hmm.
So you see some people coil into their shell. They're no longer talking. So
Yeah.
the marriage become monotonous. The mundane
Yes.
things, everyday life, school, if they've got kids, children, school fees, We go out, we come back, we sleep, we wake up, we go. They just have that routine. They are going, they are coming. There is no assessment of the relationship. There's no time when they're stopping themselves in their tracks to have, heart to heart communication. How are you
True.
doing in this relationship? How are you feeling? Am I still filling your cup? Or your
Mm-hmm.
love tank, am I still doing it for you? There's no time that they're doing that kind of evaluation. Then they come into a phase where the kids are gone, it's just two of them. Then they
Mm.
realize they lost the friendship and the connection.
True. This is why I want to add to that. And that's that it boils down to, in any relationship, it boils down to sometimes having those tough conversations. I like to say that if you don't have the tough conversations, prepare for the tough problems.
Mm,
If you don't have the tough conversations, prepare for the tough problems. Because this is what life does. When something goes wrong, you make the wrong turn. It's like you're driving, you make the wrong turn. I believe that life pushes you into that path, that corner, so that you pick some pebbles of wisdom.
mm,
If you fail because of foolishness or because of pride or whatever it is, and you
mm,
fail to pick those pebbles of wisdom and you continue your journey, life is going to hit you again, but this time it's going to be into a bigger hole because you've got to pick that lesson. You've spoken the wrong way, you've taken the wrong action, something has happened, and then you've got to deal with the consequences, but you need to learn. Now, what many people fail to understand, what many people try to do is avoid the conversation, that
mm,
awkward conversation. That they rather would feed the silence, and you can't deal with vacuum. Something will fill it. And so they rather deal with, they want the vacuum, the silence to stay in the house. No, have that conversation. And that's what we've tried to develop in my family, to say, listen, we can't go to bed without having this conversation. We might not agree today, we might not agree tonight, but let's have the conversation. So we go to bed thinking, all right, because now we've it's not, let's face it, we're humans. It's not every problem that you can resolve in one night, in one day. But
definitely.
when you start having the conversation, when you start talking, you are
It's the
simply saying,
beginning.
I agree to a solution.
Yes.
But let's think about it. Let's sleep on this, and we would come up. The process towards a solution has begun. We're not leaving it till tomorrow. That's the power again of communication. It takes you back to what I said initially. If your communication is attacked, your connection is in danger, and by extension, your relationship.
And funny enough, I'm the one who, would I say, who recoils to a corner. You see, in many cases, they tell you it's men that don't want to deal with the thing. Someone's
Mm,
posted here. You say, my wife communicates through data, logical, precise, analytical. I, on the other hand, speak the language of emotions.
mm,
Surprisingly, that's a man who is saying, I
mhm.
speak language of emotions. But most times they say, oh, it's the woman. It's women who are emotional. So I'm the logical, analytical one, the overthinker, and um when I feel like I'm not being heard or I can't present my matter in a cohesive analytical manner, I shut up and then I go
Mm.
quiet. But my
Yeah.
husband is always like, anyhow you feel at that point, it's best to talk rather
Hmm.
than not engage. And he will sit with you, continue to ask you, and continue to ask you, and I'll be getting angry because I don't want to talk. And he's
Yeah.
like, if you don't talk, we're not opening the door for healing.
True.
There's no door
True.
for healing. So he would rather you even shout, shout,
Hmm.
shout, shout, calm down, and then, resolve whatever it is the issue is. But I'm always looking for, will I say safety? I run, I run away to a
Yeah.
corner because I'm trying to avoid conflict. But like you said, which I have already taken, I told you I'm taking notes, so I'm learning my own lessons too today, is that if you don't have the tough communication, then you're going to have the tough problems.
Yes.
So you do better sit down, no matter how hard that conversation is. It's better to have it
Hmm.
And like you said, even if you don't resolve it that day, that's a good lesson to learn. You don't resolve it that day, you can know that you've opened the door
Yes.
and the conversation has begun.
Yes. You are simply speaking to God. Uh, some people probably don't believe in God, but I'm talking about God because I believe in
Please
God.
go on. I do believe in
Yeah.
God.
So yeah. So whatever you believe in, note that I respect what your beliefs. If you're watching this, but now, if in that case you're simply telling God, I'm willing to take steps. So I'm opening the door for you to come in. But if you say, because they say, if two lie together, they keep warm and they walk together, they're strong. But when you have a third strand, which is God in the mix, then it can be broken. So you are saying, we're both imperfect. We're dealing with a situation. I'm willing to walk towards a solution. I probably don't have all the answers, but I'm opening the door for you to come into the mix. It's a very powerful thing that you're doing at that point. That's why
Yeah.
we like to say, we might not agree tonight, but let's have a conversation. You see, that's how powerful that
Fantastic.
is. Really
Fantastic,
helpful.
fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, viewers, I know you're having a good time because I'm seeing your comments. Many people are commenting, they are liking, they are connecting, they are sharing. Please, if you've not subscribed to this platform, this is the opportunity to do so. We are always having these engaging conversations every Sunday on this platform, even when we're not live or bringing pre-recorded videos. Our goal is to ensure that you enjoy your relationship because there are so many people who are enduring relationships. In life, you're not meant to endure, you're meant to enjoy it. God wants you
Mm.
to enjoy it, and that's what He's created it for us to enjoy. So, somebody saying, please expatiate on them. We would like to know your thoughts. Talk to us. Joyce Gomina. Oh, yeah, I know you. Hi, Joyce. That's a long time. She's connecting from LinkedIn. How are you,
Okay.
Joyce? That's really, really good of you to connect. Please don't just say the talk to us. Let's know what's on your mind. Because I know that is carrying a lot of weight. It's carrying a lot of weight. How do we decode the communication? We've emphasized it a lot. The need to
Mm.
understand what our partner is saying. How about what they are not saying?
Yeah.
Because early on, you see me as a person, and this is I know it's a high standard to uphold. I don't even know whether I'm being fair, whether I'm able to do it myself. I don't know, but I have an expectation sometimes that you should just know that I'm not okay. That me saying it, you should be able to sense it, feel it. That okay, this woman is. I mean, it's not a matter of you've offended me. It
Mm.
could be that I'm overwhelmed because, as you
Yeah.
know, me, I'm a woman that is doing a lot of things. I'm
Mm-hmm.
juggling a lot. And so I expect that I don't always have to come and say, oh, I'm tired or I'm achy, or, you just know. And you give me that succor.
Mm. Yeah, it makes total sense, and it's not just you. It's like that. I feel perhaps it will help if, for the sake of our viewers, also for me to quickly categorize all of us where we fall into. It's like, see a quadrant. It's like a quadrant. You have four sides. Some people are D's. By D's, I mean they are direct communicators. Now, I just tell you how these people behave, and in a nutshell, how you can communicate with them. Along the line, you might even find out where you fall into. For instance, the guys, like I mentioned, my wife, she's a high D, so she's a confident communicator. She might walk into a place, stay calm for a while, but when you step on her, when you get on her nerve, she just will give it straight
I'm
away,
loving your
straight
wife
away.
already. I'm loving your wife already. I
so,
want to meet her.
so she's that kind of person. She dislikes routine. I
Mm.
dislike routine too. But
Mm.
on the scale, she dislikes routine a lot more than I do because I'm a high I and D next, but she's a high D and I next. And for people like that, they also seem to like control. You want to have
Mm.
a conversation with the boss? Yeah. Okay, so what do you want to discuss? I want to be there. Why? For people that are these, the biggest fear is they don't want to be taken for granted. So, like I told you about the thumbs up, my wife felt thumbs up. I mean, what's the meaning of that? You can't spend time and text me. So, without saying anything, she felt okay. Maybe I'm not important in this equation. They don't like to be taken for granted. So, how do you communicate with them? You make sure that you are direct, you are brief, and when it's decision making, provide them with options. People like that, they hate to hear it can't work. No, this won't work. They hate it. And without knowing, so they just simply tell you, let's go, whether it will work or not. Even if they don't say it, their actions will be, that's where we're going. The way to deal with that is provide options. Listen, if we go this way, which is fine, like what you've said, these are the options. These are the options there. Whatever you choose, I'm fine. So it means you're telling them, I appreciate your authority, your stand in this, but these are the consequences, these are the risks, and these are the possible mitigation steps we can take. Now, if you see where I'm describing, if you don't understand this, you simply say, I've told her, I've told him, they don't want to listen. And these guys don't care. Not like they don't care, but the way they're wired is we're going there. Now, the next level of course, this is deeper than I'm explaining, but the
Mm-hmm.
next level of people, the eyes, they are talkative. Like if you leave me, I get into a room and a room is quiet, I can quickly go, I can look at somebody and say, and the person is pressing their phone, I can simply say, hey, are you texting me? And they look at me and like, who's this person? But I could just say anything to break the ice. Sometimes I do that, and my wife would say, you need to understand, people will not understand you are joking. People will
Okay.
think otherwise. Yeah. And I just break the ice. That's me. I love that. And I'm very optimistic. I know that even if something, let's go. I think this will work. Now, because my wife has an eye inside her and I'm high eye, I know that when we're talking, we're both talkative people. That means we want to express. And you see that every other time, the other person wants to jump up and interrupt. So, what we now need to learn, if you're interacting with people like this, is allow them the opportunity to share their ideas. So, even if I want to say something, I hold myself back and allow my wife to exhaust. And if I'm talking and she wants to jump in, I'll say, sweetheart, if you allow me to make my point, I then allow you to speak. Is that okay? So I'm bringing her to bring it into our consciousness that it will be helpful if you allow me to finish, because now I'm learning at a deeper level her personality and how she responds to things. Then the next set of people you have, they are the S people. These people don't like problem. They are very easygoing. Why do we need change? They are loyal, they're reliable, they are good listeners. How do you interact with these people? Keep the conversation friendly. They hate confrontation. So if you're a D personality person and you go boom, 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 they switch off. So if your husband is an S person and you're always bam, 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 the guy will just switch off and say, oh yeah, nah, no one problem. I beg, I beg, I beg. It doesn't mean he has issues with it. It's just his personality will play out. So express your appreciation for that, for their quiet, for their wanting things to be stable, even if you want to talk about where you want things to be or how you feel. These are things. And the last set of people, they are C. These people are compliant. They are detailed. If they go to Starbucks or they go to McDonald's, they go to anywhere they want to buy stuff, they will tell you in detail how they want it done. Now, if you're somebody like me that hates details, the moment they start, you switch off. But once you understand that your friend, your partner, your spouse is that kind of person, you focus, you try to bring yourself to focus on facts. Keep the tone. If it's in the office, professional, give them as much detail as they want. Otherwise, they would not make any decision. One example in this case is you want to buy a house. If your partner is an analytical person, somebody who wants details, they will ask questions, they'll talk to a lawyer, they'll talk to an accountant, they'll talk to this, they'll talk to that. Meanwhile, the real estate person is saying, I need you to put an offer now so that you can
Mm,
secure your
mm,
slot. They are still thinking, they are still doing all their findings. And by the time you come back, the slot is gone. It's not about them. It is that they've not gotten enough details to make decisions. So you
And
see,
that can be
communication is not
frustrating.
straight.
I'm telling you for a fact that that can be frustrating because I think I have someone like that in my house. And I used to think it to mean that he was not um what's the word I want to use now? He was not fast enough or sharp enough. Like, why man would they drag leg like this? It used to frustrate me. Like, you don't have to see it all play out, my friend.
Mm,
Take risks. Sometimes I'll be like, take risks. That's why you're
yeah.
a man. But I've now come to understand that it's not about being a man or a woman.
Hmm.
It's about that person's personality. If
The
you
way you're
remember
wired.
during the conference when I was asking questions on the last day, I said
Mm,
some of us made a lot of mistakes to get to where we are. And I think it's because of my kind of nature, for example. I just jump into it. Oh,
mm,
it's good, it's happening. I'm in there. And then when I get them, like, maybe I should have checked better, like I should have
yeah.
gotten more info. Maybe I should have, maybe. And I want to jump out. So
Hmm.
my husband is waiting. Has someone done it before?
Yeah.
How did it play out with them? And I'll be like,
Exactly.
you're not that person. Even if they didn't do it, you have to. So, oh my goodness, what you're explaining now is so practical. And I think it will help a lot of people. Joyce
Mm,
responded, says she's well, she's glad to be here, she's taking great notes. Thanks to both of us. She likes the part of having tough conversations and being open to working through solutions. Also,
yeah.
the third strand, which is God in the mix, working to make it possible to make a headway, even if it doesn't happen that same day.
Nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
we need to take it easy on ourselves. We're not going to solve world hunger in one day. Same thing with some solutions don't come in one day in your relationship. And I think from the way we are conversing now, people can understand that we're not just talking about the marital relationship anymore.
Mm,
These are not just that Stallion is sharing are things that you can use even at work to
yes.
understand why your colleagues in your team work the way they do. It will help you better, lessen your frustration. If you're a team leader, maybe you've got one person there who's always asking questions. These people who like details, they are forever asking questions. They are thinking, my goodness, why can't you grasp it? It's not like they
Mm,
can't grasp it. They need all the detail to be able to move. Meanwhile, some people just want to see the vision. They just want an outline, and they are willing to just flesh it up and run
absolutely.
and
I'm wrong
run
with
with
it.
it. Yeah. So Joyce has asked, please, can you share the personality assessment that you and your wife took? Is this a link that you can share, or is this something that they need to book you? Because I know that you've got sessions. Is it something they need to book you to pay to come and do? Or is it something that you can share the link with everyone?
Okay, that's a good question. The way we work is we'd like to have a conversation with the person, because there's one thing in having the report like it is now. I'm explaining the report because I understand it. I am a consultant in that light. But if you have a 30-page report, the question is, will you make sense out of it? So what we do is it would be best if you contact us and then we can talk about how you can take the test, the assessment. And beyond that, what we do is that once you take the assessment, we then the next thing is we spend another 30-45 minutes to debrief you. That means we run through the results and then you would see your strength. And another thing I haven't mentioned, thank you, Joyce, for this, is that the knowledge of your strength triggers an awareness that you've got blind spots.
Hmm.
When you know that you've got strengths, automatically it triggers. That's what the conversation that we have with people come up to say, listen, these are your strengths. These the report will also show your blind spots. I'll give you one example. A direct and dominant communicator, if there is not a good blend of the other personality sets, the person might become autocratic. This is where I want it. Let's go. Because the person is not aware of this. When you know that I have that trait, you get to want to listen to that person that's more analytical, that person that wants stability, and you allow their strength to blend and cover your blind spots. And when your strength meets theirs, boom, the team explodes and explodes positively, grows. The family becomes stronger because you understand my blind spots are my husband's strength, or vice versa. And without these conversations, you just probably have a 30-page report, and it would just probably land in your drafts. My answer to you is it'd be good for us to connect, and then we see what you're looking at, whether as a person or as an organization, and see what we can do for you.
Okay, I thought you used to work with only organizations, so I'm happy to hear that you work with individuals. So husband and wife can come to you and say, "We
Yes.
want to understand how we can communicate better. Help us
Yes.
do so." So if you need to connect with Stallion, you can reach out to us or connect with him on LinkedIn. He's on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
He's You can find him through me. If you're my friend on LinkedIn, just go to my page. You'll find Stallion. Search Stallion. You'll
Absolutely.
find him
Yeah.
there. And you know, you can connect with him directly on LinkedIn, or you can talk to me if you need his contact. I'm sure he will not mind that I'll share his contact with you.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
can reach out to him, and you want to understand how to communicate better, because like we said, your communication is your connection. My time is already up. You will not believe it. This is what
You
usually
said
happens
before we started.
on this show. This 1 hour runs so fast and we're having fun and we're learning so much. There's a lot I know that we've not even
Touched
scratched.
it. Yeah.
Yes, yet. But it's what we can take for this 1 hour. And again, we'll come back again. Don't worry. You know me, I always bring the good guys back. So I'll bring Stallion again soon. And we'll continue this conversation as time permits us. I mean, he's being generous. This 1 hour we did not pay. All of my people who come on this show are very, very kind. They are just donating their time to our foundation. He was asking me a question about it today, and I think I don't talk about it much. Many people do not know that Men Fences is a registered foundation, and we do a lot of work back home in Nigeria, not in the UK, but we would expand into the UK soon. There's a vision, God's grace, to help us expand into the UK soon. We like to work with abused women. We like to rehabilitate them. We like to empower women so they are best able to stand in their feet and be the best in their relationship, because a lot lies on the shoulder of the woman as far as the
Mm.
relationship is concerned. And thank God the men are also waking up now. So we've got men who are working with us like Stallion. Thank God that we are all beginning to learn.
So
We've been
the men have been sleeping.
oh, they were before. The conversation before used to be, it's a good woman that builds a home, and they forget that the woman needs what they call it, building materials to do the building. They think it's just her. But
Mm.
now a lot of men, thank God, are beginning to wake up to it. But there's something I want us to talk about 1 minute. Why people shy away from conversations. For example, now we're saying connect with a specialist, go find out about yourself. I find that when we come to counseling, people don't want to talk, especially again, men. So it's the women who saying, I think we need to see a therapist. I think we need to go for counseling. I think we need to. And some men will be like, I don't want to go sit in front of another person and be airing my dirty ladings. What do you have to say to them? Because you're a man. 1 minute,
But
Stallion.
yeah, to a large extent, it's trust, and that's why I would say that successful connection starts with strategic communication. Why do I want to sit with you and have a conversation about my life? It starts with trust. But again, like when you say you need to go and see a professional, sit in front of a professional, have that talk and all of that, do I trust that person enough? Again, it boils again down to personality. We are all guarded. We all have this wall around us in some way. And so we don't want to let anybody through to come through and then have a conversation about our lives. It boils down to trust. And let me land by saying that it is also, and I use this word respectfully, it is also ignorance of the fact that we have blind spots. If I
Mm,
know, I'm conscious of the fact that as an imperfect man, I've got blind spots. I don't know it all. Sometimes I need someone else to help me navigate through. We pray to God, but God won't jump down and fix it.
yeah,
Sometimes He comes through
he uses
people
people.
to open our eyes. So the acknowledgement that I have blind spots and I need help would help you bring your guard down, because nobody can bring that guard down. You have to be willing to say, I want to open my gate. Okay, so trust and understanding that you've got blind spots. Today, if you're not taking anything, understand we all do have blind spots.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming, Stallion. Oh
Thank you
my
very much
goodness.
for having me.
What a rich episode of conversation with the Love Crusader that we have had. Please, even when we go off air, you can always access the link to this conversation. So if you've missed the live conversation, some people text me and say, oh, sorry, I was busy at that time. I missed the live. It's fine. Even if you missed the live conversation, you can always go back. Just click the link and watch, whether you're connecting from Facebook, from LinkedIn, or from YouTube. Just click the link, watch it again, leave your comments. We will get notification that you've left your comment. And if you have a question, we've got a WhatsApp number that is connected to our Facebook page. Once you send a message through that WhatsApp number, it will come directly to me and we can deal with your question. If you need counseling, don't suffer in silence. Maybe the communication is broken down. You both don't know how to fix it. Just give us a call, reach out to us. By the grace of God, we'll go through counseling with you. We are running premarital classes. What you don't know, you cannot defeat. Knowledge, they say, is power. Equip yourself with the knowledge you need for marriage before you get into marriage. So sign up for our premarital classes and you will be glad you did. Again, thank you so much.
One last thing, if you allow me, before we go. For those who come through this Men Fences program, if you work in an organization, we would be willing to do a 1-hour session on the behavioral analysis of the people in your team. And it is 1 hour and it is without charge. It is for a limited time though. So if they come through you, if you feel you're a team lead, you work in an organization, you can talk to your HR person or anybody, and we can come and do that. It can be done virtually, it can be done physically, but it has to come through Men Fences, and we'll be able to organize and do that.
Thank you so much. Please cash in on it. Team leaders, managers, see, we're here to help you. We're here to help your team to discuss, to talk, to communicate better. I'm telling you, you would not regret it. This is a big one. It's a big offer, and you're getting 1 hour for free from Stallion himself. This stupendous Stallion. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I forgot that name. No, I did not forget.
There's no way to forget it. It has a history, but that's a story for another day.
All right, let's not go into that so that we will not exceed our time. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for your comments. All of you who've joined the live show. We'll be back again next week. Remember, it's every Sunday at 5 p.m. Tell your friends about this platform. The next best thing that you can do is to share to someone. You could be saving someone's relationship. Thank you all. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching today's video. We appreciate you. Kindly remember to subscribe and share so you can get notification every time we post new videos. Our promise is to ensure that you flourish in love, in life, and in your relationships. See you next week.